Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hey, hi there.
I
thought he was going to trick me.
Yeah. I always think she's just so freaking cute, though. And she could not have done anything with her hair for days or whatever, and I always think she's just cute.
Yeah, it's true. I haven't done anything with my hair for days, and it's been pretty rough.
Yeah. I just enjoy her. And anyway, it was a busy day today. Lots of wonderful people. And our brother Ben shot me a text and said, hey, look, M class. Mm-hmm. And so, look at this, so go over to noaa.gov and we see, the sun is waking up. This is what we had talked about yesterday. The fact that it is actually waking up a little bit ahead of time.
Yeah, looky here. This is something we're going to keep an eye on.
Yeah, the KP has been a little bit elevated, and this is all relative compared to what we have been, seeing. There's a lot more to come. And again, when shields are down, like Scotty yelling, shields are down, Captain. Yes. What are you doing? We got to get out of here.
I know. I hear you. Yeah.
I know. Well, I don't have a very good Scotty accent,
It's cute.
Well, thank you. But basically, again, keep in mind that we are in a period where we're in a magnetic pole reversal. Could turn out to be an excursion. Excursion is when the reversal doesn't stay. And according to the official sources, it's been 780-ish thousand years since we had our last full reversal. We've had excursions. Usually, we should be on like number 3 by now as far as reversal, and it hasn't been happening. And this, again, is according to all the official sources that we so know and love and trust.
That's right, official sources.
Oh, of course we know, love, and trust them.
Yes, and that's how they became so official.
Well, did they tell us yet that Santa Claus is mom and dad?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, So, X-class flares, those are the big ones. They're major events that can trigger planet-wide radio blackouts, long-lasting radiation storms. M-class are medium-sized. They can cause brief radio blackouts that affect the polar regions. And then C-class are small with few noticeable consequences on Earth. So they say. But we have noticed even with C-class that we've seen an uptick in volcanoes and on earthquakes. So keep your eyes open, guys. Basically, keep your eyes open.
Mm-hmm. Yes, eyes on the prize.
Yeah, we might have something more major coming through, and a lot of people have been feeling like something major is coming. We know, obviously, there's chaos geopolitically going on. Chaos in the streets, first video today, talking about, what's going on in people's minds and people's hearts. Why all the just violence out there?
Yeah, you look at inside of people as above, so below, and look at the earth, and you can tie things together that we are one living organism.
And there was a comment out there, and I forget again, and I apologize who it was from, because we do try to get through as many comments as we could each day, but we typically see 6 to 8 people for 30 to 60 minute sessions a day. So we're working the videos and everything in between and trying to answer the questions, meanwhile trying to close on a property ourselves. So there's a lot to juggle. But somebody had recommended a channel and said that this channel also channels, and said that there's a galactic war underway. And yeah, there is a galactic war. That's what we have gotten. And as we have talked about, the dogmen have been activated to actually go after the Draco.
I know. The last thing I saw when I went into meditation, I was starting to slip into trance. What I remember pulling from that is these beings. They were coming out from underneath the pyramids. They were like rising up from underneath the pyramids, and Mike took that to be like coming out of stasis.
Yeah, because I've been getting the same sort of things going on. What I've been getting like the last 3 days has been that there is most definitely a battle raging, even if we don't see it. It's huge, and it really is not only a galactic one on this 3D, 4D plane, because we operate, the majority of everybody that's listening to my voice is operating on 3 and 4D for the most part. Some individuals can go higher, but for the most part, we're operating on 3 and 4D. And there is a battle raging, but it's also raging even higher. It actually goes up into the higher densities. And there are beings that are waking up now, are being called into service after long periods of time. And we have a lot of things going on. So right now, when we've talked about the volcanic activity and how much has increased, and again, our good brother David over at DAP 2030, hello, David. You know we love it. It's basically all about the volcanic ash particulates that's going up in the atmosphere and cooling things down. It is cooling things down. Now, we're still going to have these wild swings. We're still going to have record high temps. But overall, I think people are going to start to notice things are getting abnormally cold, abnormally rainy, and abnormally cloudy.
Yes, and this is a constant trend. I mean, this is the trend. It's been staying this way for, well, every time we do a show, we're always talking about the record-breaking rains and the record-breaking cold. So not record-breaking heat. I don't see that ever.
Well, we've had some, but we haven't experienced it lately. We actually put our blankets in storage for the most part. We just kept out a couple just in case. And yet last night was cold. And, we don't have the heat on in here in this tiny little camper. And I look at the weather every single day. It keeps getting revised. And I told Cindy, holy crap, we're going to be in like the mid 30s tomorrow night. This came out of nowhere because 4 days ago, there was no temps like that in the forecast. So things are changing. Explosive eruptions from the Caribbean volcano has flung ash and sulfate particulates up into the stratosphere, cooling temperatures, destroying everything along its path. You got 45 currently erupting volcanoes on Earth. La Soufriere is among the ones that worry the volcano experts the most, and so would Pele, because it's in the same area. Basically, the volcanoes along the equator will cool off the planet further than the ones on the extremities.
Yeah, that's what we got to keep an eye on.
And this is what's going on. So, as we are, we have a buyer for our small piece of land over there in the middle of Death Valley. Maybe we should hang on to it. There might be skiing in Death Valley one of these days.
There could be. It'd be really nice skiing too.
Yeah, unlike the slow-moving lava that many onlookers have admired flowing from, this is your word.
Fragistachja.
That's great. She does such a good job with that. I'm going to give her all the tough ones. So La Soufriere has an explosive and erratic eruption style. What began as a dome of goopy lava slowly pushing from the summit crater in December 2020 has turned into something much more dangerous. Several explosive blasts rocked La Soufriere and the Caribbean island of St. Vincent starting on April 9th. And those are sending ash up into the atmosphere. And this is helping to cool the planet. So, Brother Raven over there in North Carolina, perhaps you are right. He's over in Cherokee land. And he said this might be the year without summer for many people. Maybe that's the case.
Could happen.
It really feels like things are rapidly escalating. And so we talked about this super typhoon, Sergei. Well, it's forced over 100,000 people to evacuate in the Philippines. Not a bad move. When you're faced with winds that could be up to almost 200 miles an hour, that just destroys everything that comes in its way. And rain. A lot of rain. Maybe 40 inches of rain. This is a super typhoon. This is a Cat 5. This is absolute craziness, but this is what we have in these times.
Yeah, it is crazy for sure.
How about looking at the desert over in Saudi Arabia? Whoa. Talk about doing a little skiing. I mean, we could do some skiing. Cross-country skiing would be great right there right now. Look at that. Hail.
Oh. Look at what do you think that camel's thinking? Where's my skis? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what do you get a camel? Do you get him 4 skis or 2?
I'd order 4 if I were him.
Yeah, it's wild what we're seeing. This planet is changing. It is most definitely changing and changing very fast. How about 2 months of rain in a day?
I don't know. That would be sounds and looks devastating.
Yes, this is exactly why we have the chaos going on. All this is just an avalanche that's occurring right now, a major avalanche of really epic proportions.
Yeah, it's really sad. I mean, it's just something we're watching and watching. I wish we could get the honest to goodness truth, but we have to do it the way we're doing it now.
And again, it doesn't matter where you are, whether we're talking over, in the beautiful islands of the Pacific, Australia, New Zealand, whether we're talking South America, North America, Africa, Asia, Europe, we're seeing these epic changes everywhere you go.
I know, it's pretty huge.
It really is. And it just seems to be, every day. We used to get something like this, every couple weeks somewhere in the world, but now it's every single day in multiple places. Heaviest rain in 40 years, flash floods in Singapore. And we have some family members that are from Singapore as well.
Hello.
Hey there, guys. Eric and Ezra.
Eric and Ezra. Hope you're doing okay.
Yes. Absolutely wild, the changes that are going on. And let's see if it's going to let me bring this one up. How about a new island and a new lake being formed by tropical cyclone Saroha in Indonesia?
I would say Saroha.
Well, that's the way you say it in Spanish, yes. And over here, of course, this is the other big thing. The drought going on in the West. As the West prepares for its first possible water shortage declaration. And boy, do we know this well. We drove by this so many times. Lake Mead. I don't know how many times we've gone by this area.
I know.
Really low. And this is severe. This is really going to be an issue out in the West.
Yeah, it is, because, Vegas takes a lot of water, and Vegas isn't too far from that.
And of course, we know Vegas really well as well. So, your projections here are not good. There's going to be shortages. And of course, you got 7 states that rely on the Colorado River: Arizona, California, Colorado, Nevada, New Mexico, Utah, and Wyoming. And we've spent ample time in, 4 of those, and Cindy in 5 of those.
Yeah, we sure did.
So, again, pick your poison. Is it going to be water, or is it going to be fire? And in South Africa, over here, Cape Town, you see they have a wildfire under control. And South Africa escapes the attention, of course, many of us being down in the southern hemisphere and so far away from Europe and North America. But yet they've had all sorts of earth changes going on as well.
They have. I feel sorry for them.
And one thing that we've all seen is a lot of asteroids. Or are they really asteroids?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Are they asteroids? I don't know.
Asteroid 2021 HN flew past Earth at 0.66. Maybe that's even 0.666.
Yikes!
A lunar distance. 18th within 1 lunar distance this month alone. And we have an apocalyptic red rainbow appearing during a thunderstorm in Ukraine. And there's somebody out there that keeps saying, you keep saying the Ukraine. Okay, it's in Ukraine.
I hope that is better for you.
And I hope you enjoy the photo there as well. It is kind of beautiful. So they had the first flight of the Ingenuity Mars helicopter. Or did they? Is this just another, studio somewhere out there in California?
Or somewhere in the Four Corners area.
Yeah. So, interesting, but there's been so much going on with Mars.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot, and I think it's just going to get more and more beefier news, too.
Well, wait till they pull some people out and say, by the way, these guys, they're of Martian lineage. Yeah. And we could start with the Pope.
Yeah, and they're your cousins.
So we've had fireballs all over the place. Now, the ones that went over North Wales have left a lot of people puzzled because they've just been spectacular.
Oh, that is really pretty. Wow.
And again, we don't think that all the fireballs are really just simply asteroids.
No, they're definitely not.
And how about this? Look at this young person's hand inside somebody else's hand. How did that form? Was it a big person, just a big guy, or maybe that was some sort of giant?
I don't know, but it looks like it melted, and that must have been painful.
It does look to be the case. So I just thought this was curious, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. Many of you guys might have seen the video I did when I was living in North Carolina about Judicula's rock. And Judicula was a giant, and many of the giants supposedly had 6 fingers. Well, Judicula had more than that. But supposedly he made this huge jump. He came down, his hand laid down into the rock and put an imprint. And close by that, we also did a video on the Devil's Courthouse, which is, I want to say, 30 to 40 miles away from that, where supposedly this giant presided over not just other giants, but humans and the animals, and kind of was the judge that ruled over all sorts of, issues that would develop between the giants, the humans, and the animal realm.
Yeah, that's very interesting stuff up there.
It is fascinating, and it gets into that hidden history, because we know, the history that is mind-blowingly more fascinating than what they tell us.
Well, it is, and I think that's what the history books should be made out of, is this real stuff, this tangible stuff, instead of our made-up, shifted puzzle piece type of history we got in school that they change every year.
But I think things will get a lot more exciting in, say, the next 4 or 5 years, because, from what we've gotten, the chances are, give it 4 or 5 years, within that time frame, maybe even this year, you'll have beings introduced to you, and they'll just come straight out and say they are not from here, they're from somewhere else.
And that's right. They're going to look like they're from somewhere else, too. It's not going to be such a secret.
And they may be a lot bigger, maybe kind of like the giants of old.
They could be.
Thank you guys for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. Anybody that needs to make an appointment with us, it's evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail or EEARTS@protonmail.com. As always, stay prepared. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.